All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Supervisor Jim Desmond, representing North County, San Diego. Last week, I made a motion at the Board of Supervisors meeting to have a plan in place so that our businesses could start opening on May 1st. Unfortunately, that motion failed by a 3-2 vote, but there's quite a bit of excitement. There's quite a bit of anxiety. There's quite a bit of people wanting to get the economy opened up back again. Along with fighting the virus. We think we can do both at the same time. And I'm joined with the 78 corridor mayors, the Innovate 78 mayors. They've come together and also has been supporting this effort in getting our businesses open sooner rather than later. At the county, we're getting a lot of requests for resources, and we got a lot of great people working behind the scenes to try to get those resources to the people that need them. However, we need the economy to get going again, so we have the monies and we have the resources to give out and make those asks possible. So I wanted today that we have from the mayor of Carlsbad, Matt Hall is here today. Mayor of Oceanside, Peter Weiss is going to be joining us. Also from the city of Oceanside, City Councilman Chris Rodriguez is going to be here. Escondido Mayor Paul McNamara is also going to be speaking. San Marcos Mayor Rebecca Jones, and Vista Mayor Judy Ritter. So this Innovate 78 group is a collaboration of mayors that started working together several years ago, trying to get, looking at North County as a region, trying to make sure that we all had pieces of the puzzle to make North County a better economic engine and viability in North County, and we want to continue with that effort. And these mayors here are going to be talking today about trying to get their city businesses back open again in a safe and efficient manner, using the tools that our essential businesses have been able to use and use safely, and opening up that opportunity to the non-essential businesses as well. So at first, I want to introduce Matt Hall, Mayor of Carlsbad. Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Desmond, for giving us this opportunity to talk about North County, and most importantly, North County businesses. And today, I'm just going to try and focus on one segment of business here in North County, and that's the tourism, leisure, travel industry, and how important that is not only to the city of Carlsbad, but to all surrounding communities. And when you look at Carlsbad, we have over 5,000 room nights here in Carlsbad in our hotels businesses. That supports 20,000 people to make that happen. Right now, all those hotels are closed. Also, we have Legoland, who just yesterday we received a letter from asking for our support to help them get open. When you put that in perspective, that is 3,000 jobs. We also have a thriving golf industry here. Not only do we manufacture here in Carlsbad, but we have 4 golf courses here in Carlsbad. And those businesses would also like to open. So when you think of this and you think of the importance, the most profitable time for this industry is May, June, July, August, and September. So not only is COVID a issue, but also this is time sensitive for many businesses. And these businesses need to get open sooner than later. And Jim, I thank you for this opportunity. I could go on for hours on this. I just appreciate everything that you're doing. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, thanks, Matt, and appreciate, you do have many, many hotels, and a lot of the people that work in those hotels are hit very hard and aren't getting paychecks right now. And so next, I'd like to introduce Mayor of Escondido, Paul McNamara.
Thank you, Supervisor Desmond. Again, I appreciate this opportunity to talk about this issue. First, I want to say that I think we are all in agreement that we want to maintain the proper and social distancing that the essential workers are using right now. But the harsh reality is we're all faced, especially in Escondido, which is a working class city, with a lot of people who are not getting paychecks. And they are wondering where the money is going to be coming from to buy the essentials for their families. We've seen that as Matt pointed out, the restaurants, hotels, service jobs, a lot of the people who work in those industries live in Escondido, and they are hurting. We are receiving many emails and contacts of, how can you help me? Where can I get money to feed my family? We really need to get these people back to work. May 1st was the date that we set down, but I would almost phrase it as sooner is better than later. How we do this, we want the guidance, of course, from the county health professionals, but we can't wait forever. We need to start doing something. And so with that, I'd like to thank you again for the opportunity to make a couple comments. And I would now like to introduce Peter Weiss, who is the mayor of Oceanside.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you briefly this morning. I first wanted to take a moment to thank Dr. Wooten and the county staff for giving the okay to open our beaches. Countywide, we opened yesterday, a soft opening, and in talking to our lifeguards and looking at it, I think most people were very respectful of the social distancing and sanitation protocols, and they did a good job of that. Seeing the success of at least starting that process, I think it's time we look at opening active recreation in our parks, our golf courses, and of course, the boating industry. I think all of those can be done in a safe manner so that people are protected, and we recognize that we're still doing the social distancing and what's needed, but it's a start. It's a start, as both Mayor Hall and Mayor McNamara said. We've got to get people back to work. We've got to get people also the opportunity to get outside and do some active recreating, whether that's golf and getting that golf industry started again, or even boating, so that people who have slips in our harbor can actually take their boats out and go fishing if that's what they want to do. But it's time for us to start get the economy, all aspects of it, going again. And I think we can do so, as was mentioned, in a safe manner, so that we are monitoring the disease, making sure the numbers keep going down, that the downward trend keeps going, but it's time to get things going. And with that, I would introduce Councilmember Christopher Rodriguez from Oceanside to some additional comments.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning. Yeah, there's a common theme here. This is about jobs. This is about getting our residents back to work to provide for their families. That is so essential to our local economy. And this is about getting business back up and running to facilitate those jobs. Everybody wants to do their part in lowering the curve, but our retails have taken a huge hit, and they have the capacity to follow the same rules as Walmart, as Dollar Tree. They want to open, they want to follow the rules. We all want to lower the curve, and so we are advocating that we can get our retailers back up and running, and the thousands and thousands of jobs that they facilitate. And we're all going to follow the rules and work hard to get through this. Thank you. I would like to introduce Mayor Rebecca from San Marcos.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Supervisor Desmond, for bringing us together and allowing us this time to address our communities. Our county has, I'm going to speak about restaurants. Our county has over 8,100 restaurants that employ over 126,000 workers. And that's in the county. In San Marcos, we are home to over 4,300 businesses, and over 220 of those are restaurants. And those are 3,600 workers in San Marcos alone that are employed. These families are hurting financially. We need to help them. They need our help. We must take action. These same businesses are ready, willing, and anxious to adopt new safety protocols to open back up. Many of these businesses, unfortunately, will not reopen their doors if they do not have immediate action by us, their leaders. Over 60% of them, it's estimated to be. We've received plans from them to limit their capacity, to take temperatures, and they're willing to wear masks to ensure the safety of their employees and the patrons. And I see San Diego County and we have a reputation as a leader of innovation. Now is the time where we can have the opportunity to become leaders in adaptation and evolution in this COVID-19. Now is the time to take both health of our county and as a priority, and the well-being of our citizens by also prioritizing their ability to put a roof over their heads and provide food on their tables. by getting them back to work. So now is the time to start to open some of the businesses on May 1st. Let's take action. And so now I would like to introduce Mayor Judy Ritter from my neighboring city of Vista. Judy.
Thank you, Mayor Jones, and thank you, Supervisor Desmond, for allowing us this opportunity. We all understand the top priority for the County of San Diego, as well as our cities, continues to be the health and the well-being of our communities. In addition to food, there are many other necessities of life, such as the clothing, vehicles, household goods, services, athletic activities, and providing access to these needs in a safe manner is important, as are the jobs that are provided by these businesses. Vista is the home to 20 breweries, and the owners and employees have been making many sacrifices, like so many others, to help stop the spread. We appreciate their efforts and think with specific public health guidelines in place for social distancing and other safety protocols, many of these businesses should be able to reopen. We've been operating under the stay-at-home order for over a month now, which has created a devastating financial impact on many of our local businesses and their employees, especially our local breweries. There are probably 10 to 15% of the breweries who may not make it due to the health order, and this could double if the current restrictions continue much longer. We acknowledge the vital need to continue physical distancing and other public health measures. However, it is imperative that a plan in place for reopening our businesses very soon. Providing access to these breweries in a safe manner is important, as are the jobs provided by these businesses. We know that social distancing will be something that breweries will need to consider, and city staff has already discussed ways when the restrictions are modified to allow this. So we appreciate the county's leadership in response to the COVID-19 pandemic across San Diego County. We look forward to the board's upcoming discussions on easing some of the public health orders for businesses and reopening of our economy. So with that, I'll throw it back to Supervisor Desmond.
Well, thank you, Judy, and thank you to all the mayors along the 78 corridor. I appreciate your input. And I too want to thank all the people at the county and the County Emergency Operations Center, the counties, all the people that are working behind the scenes, working with the border, working with the cruise ships, working with the federal government, the state government, working with the hotels, working with many people throughout the county. So I want to give a shout out to all of those county health officials. But I also want to say that this effort is not here. We're not trying to undermine any health orders or any health words that come out or any mandates that come out from our health officials. We're not trying to undermine any of that. But what we're trying to do is move from essential businesses and essential businesses only, from essential to safe. How do we safely open up more businesses? Use the same tools that have been used, that those essential businesses have used, and use them in the non-essential businesses so they can open up. If we can move 1,000 people thousands of people through Vons and grocery stores and Costco and places like that safely, Home Depot, I was there this weekend, the parking lot was packed. If we can move thousands of people safely through those businesses, we should be able to move them through other businesses as well. And this is about getting people back to work. This is about jobs. This is about the thousands of people that are out of work, mostly from the service industry, the restaurants, places like that. In my motion last week I made at the County Board of Supervisors, I asked for different industries to have, so we have the county to have plans for these industries to start opening up. 3 of those industries were restaurants, salons, and large warehouse businesses and stores. We want to get people back to work. We want to get the economy going. We want to get the resources that we need at the county to help people get back on their feet. And this is a good effort. Opening businesses sooner rather than later, I think is also essential. Food on the table is essential, and so is the economy. So with that, I'd like to ask if there's any questions from any of the members of the press. And I don't know, is this a free-for-all or is this in the chat? I guess whoever we hear first, go ahead and speak up.
I'll talk if you can all hear me. Jim, and I guess I'll pose it to you. This is Mary McKenzie with 10 News. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, fantastic. Hi, Jim. Hi, everybody. One of the questions that I had, it came up in our discussion this morning. As you talk about moving toward safe businesses, safe business openings, you mentioned salons specifically. And it came up in discussion that those businesses in particular seem seem very tricky to open with social distancing rules, for example. In very specifically, those are intimate procedures and processes that happen in a lot of those salons, whether it's hair or facials or nails. And God knows I could use my hair cut and my nails done right now. But that one in particular seems to pose some real safety risks. So I'm wondering, what science are you or health officials using to determine that salons specifically should be in that first wave?
Well, and this was my suggestion, that the salons be one of the places that open up. What I was trying to do is pick the hardest hit areas initially, and then the low hanging fruit. And salons and restaurants, kind of fall under that category. And restaurants are also going to be a little bit difficult because of food handling and everything else. With the salons, we started a website that said SanDiegoBackToWork.com, where we asked businesses for input and on what precautions they were willing to take to get back, to open back up again. We had responses from over 400 different businesses. We gave those responses to the task force that Supervisor Cox and Mayor Faulkner are working on, and we also gave that to our head medical officers as well, those plans. And primarily from salons, they said, okay, we can do every other chair. Okay, we can do that. We can make sure that we wear, we're wearing gloves and we're wearing masks. We take the temperature of people before they come in. We can also, instead of having people waiting in the reception area, they wait in their cars and they can text when they come in. It's, text, when they're ready, and they'll sanitize and clean the seats, the chairs, between each one. It's not going to be easy. There isn't nothing easy about this, but I think there are ways that we can use the practices in place to open up certain businesses. Quite frankly, I would love to see salons. I hear from a lot of people. They even my hair, I'm starting to grow little wings here. But I'd like to, we need to crack this door open. We need to start the economy going again. We need a handful of businesses to be phased in, and then see how it goes, and then phase in the next set of businesses. And then if we have a big surge that happens later on, we're not so far out on the limb that we can't retreat. So I think that's, I picked the most, like I said, the most impacted businesses. And then the large warehouses, those are like the large furniture stores and things like that people haven't, there's enough social distancing. You get a 100,000 square foot store. Like I said, if we can move 1,000 people through a grocery store a day, we should be able to move 50 or 100 people through maybe even a car dealership. So I'll stop at that. And I know there's probably more questions out there. Anyone else?
Can I add something to that? Sorry, this is Rebecca Jones, the mayor of San Marcos. I think when I spoke earlier about innovation, I actually had a nail salon reach out to me specifically and tell me that they were creating a shield that they would be able to do manicures and pedicures. I think now is the time for us to really, it is a fluid situation, of course, but I think this is a time for us to be innovative and for us to come up with ideas to adapt, right? And so I think taking into ideas, having the medical professionals look at ideas like this is how we will really end up moving forward. And it's going to be people thinking about things, trying to figure out how to do things more efficiently and more effectively while following the safety protocols. Because as Mayor Desmond had mentioned, it's really important for us, and all of us have mentioned, it's really important for us to keep our citizens safe, but it's so important for us to get them back to work as well.
And we have a question here I see that was chatted in by Lindsay Winkley from the Union Tribune. She said, doesn't the state's stay-at-home order determine which businesses are essential at this point? That is absolutely true. The County Board of Supervisors and the North County mayors, we cannot just make the change and say, hey, these businesses are need to open. But what we can do is we can take this actions such as this, and then if the county, would take a position of we want to get things going. There's several counties in California that have taken that position and had now started lobbying the governor's office to start opening up some of the non-essential businesses. So you're right. It still is, the essential businesses that are, it's that stay-at-home order, and that list of essential businesses still rules. That is still, come down from the state. But throughout this, the state has granted local authority in certain areas. As we've gone through this, we've seen that with real estate agents, we've seen that with gun stores and things like that, even with the beaches and parks. Some of that is local authority, and so this is to, put San Diego, or at least in this case, North County, on record to say we're willing to do what it takes to start opening businesses. So yes, the state's determined. It's up to the state for changing that list. And I think from this meeting, or from this press conference, I think North County's in agreement, and the North County mayors for starting to get businesses open. So is there another question? Unless any other mayor would like to chime in on that.
Hi there, I have a question. This is Lauren Coronado with NBC7. Let's say you get the green light eventually. What's the plan? I understand all these businesses are so different. How will it be enforced? Does this mean taking customers' temperatures? If you can talk to me about a step-by-step plan you have in place.
Well, is there any mayors out there that want to start with that one?
Not a mayor, but a council member from Oceanside. I'd like to touch on that. I think the low-hanging fruit, Supervisor, I like your analogy on that. I think when it comes to retailers, like a Bed Bath & Beyond, or like an auto dealership even, it's very simple, very practical to get those types of businesses up and running the exact same way the mechanic shops are able to run, the Walmarts are able to run, and the grocery stores. I think that needs to be a top priority to get our retailers and warehouse businesses open. And, if you go to a Walmart right now, you're not having your temperature taken, but you're maintaining social distancing, you're wearing a mask, and, you're following the rules, and the businesses are, providing signage, they're providing tape on the floor as reference guides. Businesses are creative. Business owners can be creative, and they're going to follow the rules, because we all need to work together to get through this. But we have to go after the whole low-hanging fruit, and we have to demand from the state to allow these businesses that are essential to our economy, like auto dealers, like a Bed Bath & Beyond, that can easily follow the same rules to open.
And I'll just kind of chime in on that with the for restaurants, essentially, if they could have a date and we could have a plan in place, for them to open up. It's going to take a week or two before the restaurants are able to open. But they got to order food, they got to hire their staff back, they got to, make preparations. So it's not going to happen overnight. And I think what there also has to be built up is consumer confidence. Consumer confidence is huge. And if people, they're not, even if we opened up May 1st, this Friday, there'd probably a lot of people be hesitant to go into a restaurant or go into a salon. So it's going to take some time, and it's going to take some, socialization or whatever, or consumer confidence to get the economy going again. And so it's not going to happen overnight. And we realize that. But if we can get some dates out there of here's when, we'd like you to be ready to be open, or where we're pushing for the governor to open, or, particularly some of these businesses like restaurants that need some more time to get their doors open. I'm sorry, I see somebody with a surfboard. You asked a question earlier. I see you waving your hand, but you don't have a name up here. Your name is iPad. So if you'd like to go ahead again.
No, I'm good. I have other questions, but I know some other people did too. I just gesture with my hands a lot.
Okay, and then Lindsay Winkley again, she says, just to be clear, are you asking the county to be more aggressively lobby the state to open more businesses? Yes, that would be the case. That if we take the position that we want to open, several other counties have done that. And if we can show, like I said, I've got over 400 plans from different businesses that here's how they would open safely. One of the golf courses is one of the issues here lately as well. We heard from the golf courses, that they didn't use carts, or if they only had one person in a cart, no rakes, no pins, no flags, and they turned the cups upside down on the greens. And so that, that would be easier for me to golf, because if my ball then hit the cup, assuming it went in. But so they've all come up with very innovative ways and ideas to address this. And, the American businesses are the innovators. They're the entrepreneurs. They can make this work and make this happen. And I think I just want to make sure they get the same opportunity sooner rather than later than as the essential businesses.
Jim, could I make a comment?
Sure, Mr. Matt.
I want to come at this from a little different approach. I mean, we're all in this together. It's not just the businesses. It's each of us as citizens of California and this nation. We each have to be responsible for ourselves and our spaces around us. We should have the opportunity, if we choose to go to a business, that we can go there with the proper procedures in place. And so it's just as important to the citizens to have business open, to allow them to have the choices also. So this is more than just getting business open. This is about people having the opportunity to do what they would like to do.
Okay, if you have any questions from media, I think if you can unmute yourself if you have any other questions.
I got
I have a question. Oh.
Okay, I'll jump in real quick. So Supervisor Desmond, if you could, so I know that the last time you brought it up to the county board, it was shot down 3-2.
Yes.
So what would it take in order to push this forward? Is it just a majority vote? Is it 3-2 the other way? And when's the next round where you get the opportunity to do that? How do you see the timetable unfolding, hopefully, if best case scenario?
Well, I guess best case scenario, our next meeting for the Board of Supervisors, actually best case scenario is the governor starts allowing more local control on opening up businesses. That would be the best case scenario. We could start doing that tomorrow. The next, I guess, as far as the county, if lacking that, our next board meeting is May 5th. So even if we got 3-2, if we got another person to vote, and the primary hang-up seemed to be the date, that I gave a date that wanted basically just to have a plan in place, not necessarily opening because we don't have that capability. But that was kind of a stumbling block for a couple of the other supervisors. I do think we need a date, though, in some cases, for some of these businesses to have the plans ready to go in place, just so they can ramp up to make that opportunity. So May 5th is our next Board of Supervisors meeting, undoubtedly we're going to have another COVID update, and hopefully it's a positive one. The county had, I guess, was accused of coming up with an arbitrary date. The county had said, hey, everybody hunker down the month of April. April is our big month. We're going to, double down on our efforts. And if we get, hopefully we can beat this thing in the month of April. So our numbers have been coming down actually since April 6th. Our numbers have been declining on the number of people testing positive per the ratio of how many tests there are. And so May 1st seemed like a good time for me, good time to, hey, let's have at least a plan in place to start that opening. So best case scenario, governor gives us local control, more local control. Next best case is we get 3-2. We have a message then to send to the governor's office. We're ready, and we want these businesses to open.
And so if you guys do that on May 5th and you have the majority, you still need the governor's approval. Is that right? Or can you guys say May 6th, we're doing our own thing?
Legally, we need the governor's approval.
Okay, great.
Can I jump in there, Jim, and just to add a little bit?
Who's this?
It's Peter Weiss, Oceanside.
Oh yeah, Peter. Yeah, please. Yeah.
So the current county order expires this Thursday. So there will need to be a new order. And the topic I touched on, which is the active recreation in our parks, which would include golf and our other recreation activities like boating in our harbor, those are controlled by the county. So the county could, even before the next board meeting, as part of an updated order, be able to do a phased release of active recreation, which would be, like I said, boating, golf, and similar activities.
Peter, you're absolutely right. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, hi, this is Netta with CBS 8.
Netta,
Can you hear me okay? Hi.
Yeah, nice car.
Thank you. I know this is my office. So I did have a question on, I know the governor is going to be speaking at noon today on the plan to slowly open up California's economy. So is that kind of what everyone's hoping for? Do you think it's likely that local governments will get this opportunity to decide, like you were saying? And then you kind of mentioned it, but why May 1st was the day? Is it because of the numbers of April and that was kind of your set day?
Yes, and so yes, I'd be anticipating what the governor has to say, and the president actually did that. He gave states control over opening or not, and so we're hoping the governor looses some of those essential strings, and it's worked. the essential bit, it's worked with the essential businesses. So now we want to open up to the non-essential. And the May 1st, yeah, that was primarily it. It's like we said, hunker down, month of April. You know, hopefully we get our numbers down, and we did. So, and quite frankly, you know, I only asked for have a plan in place so we could open May 1st if the governor said, you know, gives us the okay, and if our numbers stay, you know, in the downward trend, which they have been, even though we've been doing more testing, and that elevates the numbers, but the ratio still stays the same. So, I mean, I'd be delighted if the governor would give us more local control and allow us to open up our businesses, phase them in safely.
I would like to just add something on that, if I could. I think that as you know, local representatives in the county, I understand we have limited control because of the stay-at-home order that we want to respect. However, I believe on a local level, we have to prepare for the reality that the governor is not going to lift the order anytime soon. And so I think we need to get creative in our policies and our approach on the definition of what is considered essential. And, you know, I've seen coffee shops start selling breakfast sandwiches so that they could deliver food and stay open and do dynamics. So I think this is a time to get creative. I think this is a time where, you know, potentially a Bed Bath & Beyond or a Kohl's, what would it take for them to be considered essential? What would they have to sell? Or what policies could they take to be considered similar to a Walmart? And could they modify those approaches and open up based on the current definition of what's considered essential? So I think we need to get creative, and we really need to shoot for that May 1st date and put as much pressure on the state as possible. Thank you.
Okay, I got a couple of questions here. One is, when will we have antibody test kits available? I don't know that. I know there's some out there, and I'm not really sure when that would be. That we have to go to our health professionals. And once again, we trust our health professionals in making the decisions they're making. We just want to be able to get the economy going as well. Lindsay Winkley from this is for all the mayors and the bird. Do we have any mayors do all the mayors feel strongly about active recreation being reinstated at local parks and other public areas? Do any of our mayors or 5 mayors want to answer, chime in on that? Do you feel strongly about opening up active recreation at our local parks and other areas?
Absolutely. Mayor Desmond, Rebecca Jones, Mayor of San Marcos. You know, we've been telling people, get out, get active, make sure that you're staying healthy, because part of our health is not just staying away from people that potentially could have COVID and get us sick. It's also about mentally staying well. And I'm very concerned with what's happening in our homes. All of our kids are home from school. All of our parents are home from school. And we have folks that are in their homes that are abusive. And there's nowhere for the people that are being abused to get away. I think having an outlet and the ability to leave your home as much as possible when you're in that situation, or you are needing just some exercise, I think it's a full, it goes right to our Live Well San Diego, and that is a complete health opportunity, and that requires us to get out and about. San Marcos has only closed a few of our parks. We have it all online as to what's closed, but we want our citizens to remain active. I think that's really important to our total well-being. And so I would love to have our parking lots opened up. But one of the caveats would be that we really need people to respect the social distancing and make sure that they are allowing many people to enjoy the trails and the parks as much as possible. But we will be following the health order, so hope that the county will be able to lead us in that. But we do want people to be safe, but we want them to be as well.
So that would be a yes?
Yes.
Okay. How about Mayor Peter Weiss? I see you on the screen. Peter. You gotta unmute.
The answer is yes. And I'll just focus on one part of it, and that's the boating. So right now you can go to the grocery store and buy fish, but you can't get on your boat and go out to the ocean and fish. So the answer is yes. I think we should open up active recreation opportunities, whether it's, again, with appropriate protocols. Certainly you're not going to put, do T-ball in Little League, but you should be able to go out and go to the park, play tennis, go play golf, because you can maintain all the social distancing and sanitation protocols. So yes, for me.
How about Matt Hall?
I agree with my colleagues, Supervisor. And again, this is all personal choice about what we as citizens, not necessarily as businesses or as government, is we as citizens, what we choose to do. And we should have the right to, if we choose to walk through a park or meet in the park with our family, we should have that opportunity.
All right. How about Mayor Ritter? Judy.
I absolutely agree. I agree that everybody needs quality time to get out, get some fresh air, and relieve their stress and their anxiety and their worry from staying in the house all the time. So I absolutely agree that we need to open our parks, that people play tennis and pickleball and exercise and all that goes with that.
How about Mayor McNamara?
Yeah, I would agree with all all of my colleagues. We've gotten plenty of emails asking for the parks to be reopened. And I think if we just have a reasonable approach to this, using the successful practices that we've seen, that we should be able to open the parks back up for some sort of recreation. I don't think it's. I don't think we need to be as, I'll use the word draconian as we have been. I think there are ways that we can do this and still keep everyone safe. And to echo what Matt said, it is a personal choice. You feel unsafe at the park, then don't go.
All right. Well, thanks. We have time for one more question.
If I can jump in really quick, I just had wondered, I guess looking down the road a month or two or 3 or 4 from now, if this were to pop back up, if the coronavirus waves were to all of a sudden come back with a vengeance, like a second cycle, does anybody here, would you feel regret or have second thoughts about pushing to reopen soon? Would you have second thoughts? Do you wish you would have thought it differently, do you think?
Does any of our mayors want to chime in on this? And then I'll wrap it up.
I can.
I'll chime in.
Okay, Mayor McNamara.
No, we're in a position, we've been elected to make decisions. Not every decision that we make is going to be correct, but we've stepped up to take on that responsibility. I don't think any of us are making this decision cavalierly. We've thought through this. We're looking for balance. We're asking the state. We're not making this based on our science backgrounds. We're asking the state and the healthcare professionals to take a look at the situation and come up with a balanced approach. People are suffering. This can't go on forever. We need to kind of find some sort of path. And if it does turn out, if it doesn't turn out like we hoped, well, then we'll make another decision. But we can't just sit here and think that it's all going to work out by itself. We need to do something.
Any other mayors want to chime in?
I agree with Mayor McNamara and Supervisor Desmond. I think I've been calling you Mayor. Old habits die hard. I apologize.
Okay.
Anyway, I do agree with Mayor McNamara for many reasons. We do have to make difficult decisions, but we do need balance here, and we do need people to get back to work. That is the truth. So I'm in agreement that we do need to move forward. And right now we're actually in a standstill. We need to crawl and move forward and take small steps.
And Jim, if I could say a few words also, I would have absolutely no regrets. If we use this last 3 months as a learning process, we've really been reactive in who we are and what we're doing. From this moment on, we should be proactive in how we go about things. I have plenty of faith in our health systems, our healthcare, and as we move forward, we will be better prepared than we were yesterday. So is this virus going to come back? chances are it is. But I think that we will be prepared. We'll be much better placed to handle it and control it.
Okay. I'll just, kind of chime in and wrap up here.
Can I ask one last question, please? This is Carlos with the Hispanic community with Univision.
Absolutely, Carlos. Go
I
ahead.
appreciate that. We understand the whole situation, and then especially in North County, I was in Escondido yesterday, and I saw the struggling of the small businesses. In San Diego County, we have a huge percentage of people that works day to day in order to feed their families. At the same time, we have thousands of small businesses owned by and opened by Latino community. And are you guys going to be thinking when you suggest the reopening on this to do it equally? Not just, I'm taking that you guys took it as an example, the beauty salons, but are you going to ask equally to every single business to reopen in a matter way, conscious way? And if the county is informed by your suggestions, so you guys can work together. We have to be real on this, because if the governor does not lift up the quarantine yet, we have to be prepared for that day when that happens. So are you guys thinking in every single small businesses, not just few, to do the same equally in the safe manner?
Mr. McNamara, do you want to take that? Do you want me to? Or you mentioned Escondido. I don't know if you had any thoughts or.
Can I take it, Jim?
Sure.
Well, okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Paul.
Oh, well, I just want to say that we're kind of at the mercy of the state. So it's not up to us to decide which businesses. What we're asking the state to do is saying, okay, we can use the practices that are conducted at Walmart or Costco in other businesses, but there may be some businesses out there that we can't find a good practice for them to reopen. So, would we like everyone to be able to reopen? Yes, we would. But we're at the mercy of the healthcare professionals at the state and to see what they would come up with. So I don't know that we can predict what they will say. Matt,
did you want to say anything? Yeah.
Just to echo what Paul said, I mean, I'm not here to pick and choose businesses. I'm more in tune to what are the procedures that we need to go through and give every business, small or large, the opportunity to try and follow those procedures to get home as quick as possible. And keep in mind, when you have a business that's shut down, it's not like a light switch. You just don't flip the switch and tomorrow you're open, especially if you have very many employees. It takes time to get the business back, get employees back and get up and running. So that's why dates are so important, is to give people the lead time so they can start working towards, a good opening. So I don't think it should be about picking and choosing.
And Carlos, I'll just kind of wrap this up. We didn't, this virus knows no ethnicity. This virus is around the world. It's not, whether you're Latino or white or whatever, it knows no boundaries. And so the reason I picked those businesses is because they were the hardest hit. And quite frankly, a lot of the service industries and a lot of the service businesses, they're the ones that are the hardest hits. And it's the poorer people that are bearing the brunt of this, because they're the ones not getting their paychecks, not able to put the food on the table. So I'm looking at more about processes in the different businesses, and the processes, the hardest hit and then the easiest process was a larger warehouse. So that's one I was hoping to phase in first, not based on any ethnicity or anything else. And then to the question on, would we regret any decisions? Well, we learn from our decisions, and we have to make them in the best, environment that we have possible. We don't leave the house wrapped in bubble wrap either. You get in your car, you're taking some risks. So I think the risk would be pretty low if we use the same tools that we're using at the essential businesses, at some of the non-essential businesses as they try to open up. That is the whole gist of this. We're not trying to undermine any of the health officials' edicts or any of the things that they put out. We just want to use those same tools in opening up more businesses and get the economy going. So with that, I want to say thank you very much, everybody, for joining in, for being part of this today. This was very good. I'm glad North County has come together, and we're looking for common sense, practical solutions that keep people healthy. And I think that's a good course. Thanks for being part of this. If you got any questions, you can call my office later, or call any of the mayor's offices later. I'm sure they'd be happy to follow up, and appreciate your time this morning. Thanks a lot.